So one of your first sketchbook assignments was to create your name and a few words about you. Now, keep in mind the idea was to play with different kinds of text. We talked a little bit about graffiti. You might want to choose a graffiti style. You might want to choose a different style. You might want to choose cursive. Whatever makes you most comfortable. But what I want to see when you create this artwork is going to be chalk and color blending. You want to make sure that you're going from a light color to a dark color and choose 3 different values. So in other words, something that is lighter, a medium, and a dark. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write that word cool. And I'm going to start off with a dark blue. And what I'm going to do with the chalk is I'm just going to go ahead and blend it. Now, if you want to be cautious about your fingers getting dirty, just wrap your finger in a paper towel, and that will allow you to keep your hands clean, as well as some people have an aversion to the chalk itself. Now, keep in mind this stuff is dusty, so when you come across having too much dust on your actual paper, please knock that either into the garbage can or onto an extra paper towel. That way we don't blow on this and get it in the air. That can be problematic for anyone that has asthma. So we want to make sure that we keep a nice clean classroom. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend those 3 colors. I'm going to do something different with the L. So I'm currently just leaving that alone until I'm done with my blue. You'll notice that I'm going in small little circles. I'm trying to keep the chalk in control. You don't just want to wipe your hand across the whole thing and get a great big mess. You do have to control chalk a lot. It's one of those that can get away on you very quickly. Now with the O's, I'm going to go ahead and just dive right in with my lighter color. And I'm just kind of blending between the white and the blue. So that way I can kind of end up with these almost Cookie Monster type eyeballs, which is what I decided to do for the O's, rather than just having them be normal shades. And you'll see there's a little bit of that extra chalk dust. So I know I said to use 3 values, but sometimes when you just take 2 and you blend together, you end up with having that median value, which is what happened here between the white and the blue. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of highlight to get my little Cookie Monster eyes there. And now here is where I start to take a few creative liberties. And what I mean by that is I'm going to go ahead and it looked, like I said, it looked kind of like Cookie Monster. So I'm giving it a nose. I'm adding a little bit of red to yellow and then blending that together to make orange, to make a nice little nose for my character. And it wasn't that way in the original sketch, but like I said, it's kind of a creative liberty kind of thing. And I can play back and forth with the chalk if I decide it gets too blended one way or the other. I can go ahead and add a little bit of extra yellow or a little bit extra red. Now I'm going to focus on the C, and I have chosen a green in order to create my different values. So I've got blue, I've got this median green, and I do want to turn it back into a bubble letter. So I'm just going to go around it. And what you'll notice I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the paper towel, and rather than blending down the center, I'm going to try to leave as much of that blue as possible. And then I'm going to start going from the green outwards. And again, if I feel like I need more green, I can go back in and add that. But I want to create a glow coming from the sea, which is more of that fire method that we kind of practiced on that first day. And just be careful not to get it in the center, and then you can always go back, add a little extra if you need to. Sometimes it's you can turn it That way it's a little easier to access without getting thumbprints everywhere. It is quite difficult to keep a chalk artwork clean. You don't want tons and tons of thumbprints on it. And then I'm going to go in with my lightest value and go ahead and make that highlight around so that way I have my bubble letter C. I did decide as I was working to go ahead and turn that dark blue into a lighter blue. Again, that's a decision you can make as you work. And I'm doing that short, quick motion outwards in order to get that little glow coming from that L, and a couple variations of pink in order to get those lights and darks. But this time I'm not blending so much.